In German training science, there are described 7 so-called coordinative abilities that help players to have more control and fine-tuning over their movements. In this video, these 7 abilities are explained, as well as there are exercise examples that can be used in your warm-up routine. For all exercises, only one table tennis ball is used, but you can also use other kinds of balls as a variation. During exercise 1, the so-called ability of differentiation helps players to adapt the right intensity of impulse that they give the ball during bouncing so that the ball jumps upwards in the right height. At the table, this differentiation ability empowers players to have control over the right amount of rotation and speed and the right placement, especially length of the ball. In exercise 2, players perform side steps and again the alternate bouncing of the ball with the right and left hand. Here the second coordinative ability, the so-called coupling ability, is needed to coordinate the different movements of arms, respectively hands, and legs, respectively feet. At the table, the coupling ability helps to perform different footwork techniques such as a side step, side jump or lunge, at the same time with the execution of striking techniques such as the topspin, push or flick. During this exercise, a third coordinative ability can help to perform this task fluently. This ability is called the rhythm ability, which enables players by definition, on the one hand, to follow an external rhythm or sound. On the other hand, this ability supports to build up and hold an internal movement rhythm. At the table, this ability helps players to hold up a rhythmic play during regular exercises. In addition, it helps beginners during movement learning to build up the rhythmic performance during a stroke that includes the backswing, the forward swing up to the hitting of the ball, and the end of the forward swing. During exercise 4, all 3 abilities are needed when players perform cross steps and the alternate bouncing simultaneously. Sometimes beginners have problems to coordinate the legs during cross steps. In that case, go a methodical step backwards and do it without a table tennis ball and with a slow pace until the cross stepping is learned and automated. In this exercise, the coupling ability, the differentiation and rhythmic abilities work together. It's a quite complex coordinative task, so that the brain has to send the impulses to the muscles with the right intensity, to the right muscles in the right rhythmic frequency. Because during this exercise a lot of muscles and the brain work together, it's a good exercise to fulfill the general aim of a warm-up, which is to raise the body temperature so that the internal metabolic processes run faster. But when this exercise is automized after a few times, the coordinative training stimulus is reduced. That's why a lot of variation and the rising difficulty of the tasks are important features of coordinative training. So use different balls or close one eye during the execution of this exercise to raise the difficulty. During exercise 6, the players are running backwards while the alternate bouncing of the ball with the right and left hand. In this situation, another coordinative ability, the so-called orientation ability, is needed. The ability of a good orientation helps to move in different directions in relation to the surrounding objects and subjects. At the table, this ability is needed during double or mixed and while moving in different distances behind the table. While running backwards, the athletes have no visual control where they are moving. That's why the movements get sometimes cautious, anxious or timid. In addition, the brain has to calculate more to translate the incoming visual signals to the new situation, respectively movement direction. In exercise 7, players perform side steps or side jumps and throw the ball from behind the back forwards through their legs and catch it in front of the body. In this situation, another coordinative ability is needed, which is called the reaction ability. A good reaction helps players to catch the ball as fast as possible when it comes into their field of view. This ability is closely related to the so-called anticipation, which is the ability to calculate in advance from where the ball comes. In this exercise, reaction and anticipation help the players to catch the ball first with their eyes and then with their hand. At the table, anticipation helps the players to foreshadow which stroke will come with which placement, and reaction brings the player fast to the right place to play the ball adequately. During this exercise, also the other already mentioned abilities are needed. For example, the differentiation helps to not throw the ball too weak or too strong, and the rhythmic ability helps to perform this exercise fluently. One feature of coordinative ability training is that often more than one coordinative ability is needed to perform the exercises correctly. Sometimes one or two abilities are in the focus, sometimes more abilities are co-working at the same time. Therefore, it is challenging to organize a good coordinative training. The harder the exercises get, the more abilities are needed on a high level. So an over potential of motor behavior is created that helps players to pass all possible situations also at the table. In exercise 9, players kick the ball with the right and left knee and catch it. Since there are hundreds of different muscles in the body, it's useful to practice the differentiation ability not only with the hands but also with other body parts. In this situation, the brain sends via the nerves the fine-tuned electrical signal to the right leg muscles so that they contract with the right intensity so that the ball is touched softly with the knee. It's also often useful to perform exercises with the right and left extremities to build up a flexible motor behavior. In table tennis, this is also helpful. Maybe you've already watched players with a hand switch to solve a situation. During exercise 10, the ball is thrown backwards through the legs, and after a fast 180-degree turning, the ball is catched on the other side. In this situation, the next coordinative ability is needed that prevents from tumbling and falling in this situation. It's the so-called balance ability. Its foundation this ability has in the so-called balance organ in the human head that registers via special receptors when the head is moved quickly and helps to stay in a stable and balanced body position. So mainly the balance and orientation ability help to solve the situation, although also differentiation and reaction are needed. At the table, the balance ability helps to solve complex footwork situations. For example, the receiver has to perform after a starting activity jump a lunge forwards to reach a short ball and afterwards a fast jump backwards to find the right distance to the table. Or when players try to come back to the middle of the table after a cross-step situation. During exercise 11, players throw the ball 2 or 3 meters forwards and then make a 360-degree turn while the ball is bouncing one time on the ground before he is catched. Pay attention that one time the turn is done to the right and one time to the left alternately, so that a dizziness is avoided. Again, during this exercise, the abilities balance and orientation are in focus because the balance organ in the head is stimulated and players have to orientate after the turn to catch the ball and stay in balance. To make this exercise easier, you can give the players more time so that the ball can be bounced 2 or 3 times on the ground. To make this exercise more difficult, try to throw the ball higher, turn and catch it without bouncing on the ground. In exercise 12, players try to bounce the ball with the right and left foot alternately. It's hard to find the right timing because the ball has to be touched with the sole of the feet shortly after the ground contact. So the rhythmic ability and differentiation ability with the legs, respectively feet, are in focus during this exercise. Throwing the ball higher or doing side steps instead of jogging are 2 possibilities to make this exercise even harder. During exercise 13, players try to throw the ball with the right hand behind the back over the left shoulder. Then they try to catch it with the right hand in front of the body. Differentiation ability with the right hand, anticipation and reaction ability are needed during this exercise. Closing one of the 2 eyes make this exercise even more demanding. Sometimes during this exercise a lack of shoulder mobility is observable when players cannot throw the ball over the shoulder but throw it around the hip. In this case, check the player's shoulder mobility and plan individual prevention exercises to avoid a long-term injury risk. As a variation, you can also use different leg movements like side steps or side jumps or cross steps and others. It's also possible to use 2 balls in each hand to perform this exercise alternately with both hands to combine exercise 13 and 14 that are shown here separately. In exercise 15, players throw their ball upwards, clap their hands 3 times, first in front of the body, then behind the back, and then again in front of the body before they catch the ball. During this exercise, the abilities of differentiation, rhythm, coupling, and anticipation work together to solve the situation. The speed of clapping has to be synchronized with the ball flight behavior to have enough time to catch the ball. During exercise 16, players have to clap the first and third time behind the back. So they must adapt their arm movements, which is the 7th coordinative ability. Thanks for watching, have fun during training and please subscribe.